Introducing the Paddy Power World Darts Championships.
Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. The build-up for the Paddy Power World Championship, and of course we've got Sky Sports' Mark Webster in playing gear today. Webby, first of all, you did the draw, it's all done. Have you had a chance to digest it?
I've scanned over it, yeah. Obviously, it's hard for it to register, isn't it? Once you get involved, you kind of memorise the draw. I can remember a lot of last year's draw, but not the one that's present at the minute. But look, it's a good time of year, isn't it, for the players? I think it's the one that gets you fired up. I've just been speaking to Stephen Bunting, who obviously is here with us tonight. He's putting in the extra hours, and you do that in the world is natural because it's a huge event.
Does it all feel real now the draw's done?
Yeah, and the order of play out as well, so you can sort of see when you're playing. I think the order of play is the one, isn't it? You want to know when you're playing, so players will then be like, all right, I'm going to do this, that, and prepare for the day they play. But yeah, I can't believe we're here again, but it's a massive event. I think it's a brilliant event. Obviously, last year was huge with Luke Littler. He's back. But the players know now, if you look at Luke Littler as an example, yes, he's a freak, but you go on that big run, look up the doors it can open for you.
Obviously, your mucker, Joe Cullen's here, as he thanks you for that draw.
He's all right with it. Yeah. Honestly, I think probably what he needed. I think he needs to get fired up. And I think last year he played Darren Penhall, and it's like, you don't know what you're going to expect. He knows what the crack is with Wessel. So when we assume it's going to be Wessel, he's got to come through against Cameron Cowley, and we think he'll win that. But I think it's what Joe needs. The form has been very indifferent. He needs to be fired up from the get-go. I felt like I went into Worlds one year when I was ranked 10 in the world, and I was not playing well, and I drew Ian White, which is one of the worst possible draws, but it fired me up and I won the game. So I think it's what he needs. I think he'll be okay.
Look, all eyes are on Luke and Luke. They're on that collision course for the semi-final this year. Do you think we'll get that? Yeah,
I think we'll do well. Yeah, it's no disrespect to the players around them. I just think they're a class above the rest, and you've seen the consistency they produce, and even they played that final, they can play their way out of bad spells. Luke Humphreys did it better in that final. It was the only little blip Littler's had those first 6 legs, and I'd say the best part of 6 weeks. So they're a class above the rest. If they don't perform, they could get beat, but I expect them to perform.
Yeah, look, the bottom half is an intriguing one, because we've had Barney saying he doesn't think Michael's going to go to the Worlds and do anything, and we've had Michael not doubting himself, but where he's almost accepted that Luke and Luke are above him at the moment. I've never heard him say that in previous years. So is there expectation on Michael, or can he just go and do his thing?
There'll be some expectation. There's always expectation with Michael van Gerwen. He's not going to get a free ride because he's been not playing well. At the same time, he gets it, doesn't he? I know he said it's more about them two at the minute. He's probably right. He recognises where he's at, but I think his draw's okay for the first couple of rounds. There's that potential clash in the third round with Gary Anderson. And I think he'll have worked his way in. I think he'll do okay. I think he'll play well. He needs to play well. He knows that. He's a human being. He gets upset when he loses, which is good to see. Means he still cares. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play, and I think he'll be looking forward to trying to prove some doubters wrong.
Yeah, look, you touched on Gary Anderson there as well. The rejuvenation of Gary Anderson continues. That we saw great stuff at the Grand Slam. I know he lost to Ryan Meikle at the Players' Championship, but the performance was very good again. He goes there and he is a danger for a third world title.
Yeah, he is. Do I think he'll win the world title? No, but he's got the game. He's got the know-how, hasn't he? But yeah, if he plays like it, particularly in that Luke Littler game, he's fantastic. Excuse me. But he's got Ross Smith in the second round, so that'll be a tough game for him. But yeah, he never lets himself down at Ali Pali, Gary. Last year was a rare one where he underperformed against Brendan, but he just didn't get going. But he never gets caught really early in the tournament, and I think he'll have a good run again.
Look, there's a lot on the line at this World Championships for people's rankings and so on. We're looking at the potentials. He could fall to here, he could move to here. As a player, did you look at stuff, and obviously you speak to the current crop, is that something that they're looking at?
I don't really speak to them about that, but they'll be well aware. Players know their ranking. I did a piece of Luke Littler the other week for Sky, and we're chatting off camera. He gets it. He knows where he's defending money. He knows he's got a free run next year. Players will always look at it, and some will know whether they're under threat. Some will know, well, hang on, I didn't get anywhere this time 2 years ago. Let's make some profit. So it's a huge event for every sort of emotion. Tour cards, qualifying for the Masters, trying to win the world title, getting in the Premier League. There's so much going on, and all the players will have their own little objectives. There'll be some players a lot of the players will set themselves a target. I want to get to this round, because not everyone can win the world title. Not everyone's got the game, but you set yourself a target on a decent run, and players will have their own sort of benchmark where they want to get.
Obviously, much focus on Gezi as well. It's been an indifferent year, especially on TV for him. Judging by his Instagram post, he looks up for it again. What are you expecting from the Iceman at Alexandra Palace?
Yeah, I think he'll play well. I don't think he's been a million miles off. It's quite puzzling how his results have been so poor, particularly in the Premier League. I thought he played pretty well. I think his running average about 98, which is good. And you've just got to get it at the right time. And look, confidence is a big thing in darts. And I think his confidence is a little bit fragile, which will happen when you're not winning events. But he'll look at it as a sort of a clean slate. I think he's quarter-finalist a few years ago, so there's not a massive amount of money to drop, and I think he'll enjoy the World Championships this year.
I know it's not guaranteed, but all eyes are on Luke Littler and a potential draw with Fallon Sherrick. Look, Fallon's got to beat Ryan, who is a very capable player, so that's not a gimme. But if we were to get that game, that could be the biggest viewed game in history because of the profiles that both players and the intrigue around both players.
Yeah, look, you've made a good point. There's a long way to go before we get that game. Ryan Meikle was a big favourite for that game, and Fallon's going to have to start playing better than she has done. But she recognises that, and it's got the mouthful. We were at the draw. The reaction when it came out was sort of a buzz around the room, wasn't there? But there's still a long way to go. But yeah, look, the viewing figures will be ridiculous for that game if it does come off, and I'm sure people hoping it'll happen. But Ryan Meikle's a good guy. He's a good player. He'll have a lot of say in that. He wants to crack at Luke Littler as well, so let's not forget about him. But yeah, I'm with you. If that game comes off, it will have a massive load of intrigue. But it's one, if it does come off, I think Luke Littler will deal with. I don't think he's going to be worried about the crowd being against him. I don't see him having a problem with playing Fallon. I think he'd be fine if that game does happen. Yeah,
look, obviously in the build-up to the Worlds, there's a bit of a sour note. Dom Taylor has had a great year on the floor, got to the Players' Championships, got to the World Championship, failed a drugs test and will now be suspended pending his hearing. That's a huge blow for someone that's had a great year so far.
Yeah, look, they're the rules, aren't they, Phil? Do you know what I mean? It's
100%.
You can sit here and say, I feel for him, he's broke the rules, and he's going to get his punishment now, and hopefully he'll learn from that and go away and look, stay clear of that those sort of substances he's taking. It's a test. There's no right or wrong. It's there, and I don't really feel sorry for him. Phil, he's made a mistake, and he's going to serve his ban now, and at a key time for him. But like I said, hopefully he'll learn.
Can he rebuild his career after this?
Yeah, he can. Of course he can. Yeah. I mean, Richie did it. Richie obviously failed a drugs test a while back now, and he came back, and he's been in major events, but it's not ideal. He's trying to get his name out there. He's about to make his debut in a couple of TV events. The timing's not ideal, but like I said, they're the rules. He's broke them, and he'll serve his punishment, and then whatever, he'll have to try and come back. A
lot of chat around the Premier League at the moment. Everyone's trying to guess those 8 players. Where are you at the moment? How many do you think have done enough to get in so far, and how many are on the cusp?
I think 2. No. I think 4. The 2 Michaels, the 2 Lukes, one of the Michaels, Van Gerwyn, and Rob Cross, I think, will play in it. I think Mike De Decker deserves a go. I think Stephen Bunton's probably in their thoughts. But beyond there, I don't know. Michael Smith obviously has had a good year, but it's that prize money, it's his ranking, isn't it? So he's had an okay-ish year. He's been to a couple of semi-finals. But if Michael loses early, his ranking drops, so it's tough, isn't it? Look, it's a nice problem to have, the PDC, because they want someone to come in through the ranks in a tournament and give them a reason to put them in. But this time of year, players have got to focus on trying to win the world title. But I fall into that trap. It's easier said than done. Players are trying to qualify for the Premier League as well as have a good tournament. Yeah, look,
as you say, there's a lot of clamour around the Premier League. I know you say it's easier said than done, but people and players can't help themselves. They do talk about it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, the year I played in it, I was obsessed with getting back in, and I really wanted to get back in, and I had a shocker at the World. Well, I lost first round, and it ended from there. And players do think about it. They'll know. Some players will know, get to a quarter. Stephen Bunton, for example, get to a quarter, he'll be put in because his ranking will dictate probably, and he's higher. But you've just got to go there and try and win darts games. But like I said, yeah, it's easier said than done.
I know Gary says he won't play in the Premier League, but the form he's in, and if he has a good run at the Worlds, do you think they'll ask the question of him and try and get him to play?
I think he'd have to get the final, but yeah, he'll play. I'm convinced he'll play if he's. I'm not buying it with Gary. Yeah.
No.
I just look not in it. I'm not digging Gary out. I think he's enjoying playing darts. So why wouldn't you go and play in the Premier League? Even after the game against Luke Littler, he's quite smiley and. Look, he played really well, so I think he changed his mind. I might be wrong, but I'm convinced he changed his mind if he was asked.
It's been an incredible year. I remember when we were speaking in the build-up to the World Championship final last year, did you ever envisage that coming onto a year on that the sport would be in the place it's in?
No, but it's good, isn't it? Yeah, it's been brilliant this year, and all the events and the surprise winners, the two Lukes. Obviously, you mentioned Gary getting back to form, the trials and tribulations of Michael Van Gerwen, but I still think he'll come out the other side. But the game's in a healthy place. There'll be so many eyes on the World Championship. Ticket sales went in a ridiculous amount of time. And it's on the rise, and we're all part of it. It's good for you, it's good for me, it's good for all the players involved, and yeah, long may it continue.
Next year, if you could change one thing, what would you change?
Oh, caught me off guard there. I'd mess about with the Grand Slam qualification, if I'm honest. I think there's some players who probably shouldn't be there, players who should have been there. But PDC don't stand still, to be fair. They always look at things, and hopefully that'll be addressed, because there's a lot of big players that missed out this year. And
obviously the Winmore World Masters has been rebranded.
Brilliant, yeah.
I know, obviously, I know you're with Winmore, but it was something that we'd spoken about before, and this is a great move from the PDC and Winmore to go back to the original format of the Masters.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? And it's obviously best of 3 leg sets, so it's just something different, isn't it? You can't have events churning out the same, and I think it's a clever move by the PDC. Winmore getting involved is great as well. Early time of the year as well, so I think players, with it being ranked as well, players are starting to pull out and not be too bothered about being unranked. I think this year you've got to turn up, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm working on the event as well, so I'll be glad to be there.
Just touch on what you said there before I let you go. When Gezi pulled out last year, someone that high profile and that high up in the rankings, do you think that was arguably the catalyst for change with the Masters, and hang on a minute, we have to do something with this?
Yeah, I don't think it was just that. Obviously,
I'm not saying just that, but that was almost the one that tipped it over.
I think Gezi had played a lot of darts, just wanted some time off, and as a self-employed dart player, you're entitled to time off. It doesn't have to be in ranked events. But yeah, I think they wanted to. It's meant a lot, hasn't it? Because ranking it's been so important the last few years, hasn't it? Johnny Clayton, Joe, Chris Dobie, Bunting, it's been really important. But now being ranked, the players are going to be hungry to play in it, and there's a free hit. There's no prize money being defended, so it's a really important event and really early in the season.
Well, pleasure as always, lad.
Cheers, Bazzi.
One.